Hi, Susan. Hi, everybody out there. Welcome to what we call Thirsty Thursday. It really came about because this is technically our 4 p.m. report after show. We talk about our podcast for the week, and we talk about those things out on the internet that we're thirsty for in a good way and sometimes in a bad way. So, Susan, this week we did something special with our podcast. We did three micro episodes. Why don't you talk a little bit about why people should go listen to that?
Yeah, it's 3 episodes, which are sort of goes back to our original heritage, doesn't it, of trying to produce like 5-minute episodes. So it was 3 5 to 6 minute episodes, and it talks about 3 of the most common problems to developing the kind of marketing that works right now. The first is budget. The second is bandwidth. In many cases from smaller teams and such. And then third is burnout and the fact that the effects of this long post-pandemic life is starting to show on multiple people with no real boundaries between work and life and such. So each episode is short. All 3 of them should take you less than 20 minutes. So go have a listen to that.
Yeah, they were good. I really enjoyed them. And as Susan said, when we first started the 4 a.m. report, we were like, we're going to do a micro podcast. It's going to be 5-minute episodes. We're going to get in and out. Well, that slowly and surely went away, right? So it's nice to
We found we enjoyed the interview and the conversation.
Yeah, we really
so we
did.
expanded it.
But it's good that we were able to go back to our origin there. So, yes. Let's get into the things that we're thirsty for out there. One thing I wanted to talk about, I realized, was that November's kind of been another good month for breaking those glass ceilings, for upending the way we thought things had to go. It started with Kamala Harris, first vice president who is a woman, also of Indian and African American descent. Very cool. Then last week I read that the first female has been announced as the general manager for a Major League Baseball team, which I thought was really cool as well, because baseball is notoriously a conservative sport. And in my head, it's, old white men who sit in that room looking down on the baseball field who are making all the calls. So the fact that this woman is now in charge, I thought was really awesome.
There was also the, I don't know if it was November, but in general, the last quarter was the first female CEO of the Laurentian Bank in Canada, which is, again, a bastion of conservatism, perhaps.
Very cool. Yeah. And then, I know I'm forgetting something, but then also yesterday, not Harry Styles, we're talking about that later. Oops. Yeah. Yesterday, Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, the writer, actor, son of Eugene Levy, who's had a lot of success with Schitt's Creek, was announced People's Sexiest Man in Quarantine, which I thought was cool too, because I don't think traditionally he's not the Brad Pitt, he's not the George Clooney. So I wanted to ask you, do you think what we see as sexy has changed a bit since we've been in quarantine, Susan?
I think so. I think it's all getting back to some pretty key basics, right? I think he's super sexy to most people because he's such a brilliant writer. Like, I don't think it matters beyond that. And he carries himself with a certain level of ease. And I love his sweaters. So would I have thought all of those things are sexy 10 years ago? I don't know. But now I think so. Sure as heck.
Great. Okay. Well, anyways, congratulations, Dan Levy, on being the sexiest man in quarantine.
You also wanted to talk about what is like quarantine fashion, right? Like what are we doing? I know we all focus on the top half, and there's endless jokes about, Zoom bottoms, but like if you really wanted to put yourself together with some degree of style in quarantine, what does that look like?
Well, don't you think it's very much like that casual comfort style? Whether it's just your basic sweats at home, or even when you go out, you're still probably in a more casual version of yourself. I know I am, at least. I know I've invested in some good cotton sweatsuits. And the other thing too, is I spent money on skincare products because this is what people are going to judge me by. And even when you're out in a mask, it's like, you better have a nice forehead. So get that, retinol and lactic acid treatments and whatever else is going to smooth out those lines. That's all I've been thinking about, really, to look good.
Botox it up, baby.
Botox it up.
Okay, so that was the glass ceilings thing. There's another story that we were thirsty for, which is kind of cool, fun, heartwarming, all of the things. It's about Dolly Parton and the fact that one of the donations that she made to the COVID fund was what funded Moderna's now viable vaccine, which are in trials. And this professor pulled out his guitar and played a version of Jolene that went like vaccine. And it's some brilliantly written lyrics. And obviously it was trending on Twitter, and I guess it caught the eye of Dolly Parton. And now people are campaigning to have her do an actual version of Jolene.
Dolly actually comment on it, you mean?
I'm not yet. I don't know. This is all happening right now as we speak. This is one of the newest stories we found. But yeah, it'll be fun to see if she actually does put out an official version of it. And I think it's amazing when you find these little heartwarming stories of things that make sense. If I was Moderna, I'd be using this in my communication. At some point when you run out of vaccines and you need people to have a sense of humor, bring out Dolly.
That's very cool. We love Dolly.
We love Dolly.
Next, the thing I wanted to talk about next was I was driving back from my mom's on Sunday, and I heard it was a repeat broadcast, but on CBC, our Canadian Broadcasting Network, their radio station, there's a show called Spark. And the host, oh no, I had it here. It's Nora. What's her name? Nora Young is the host. And so they were talking about truth. They were talking about truth in media, why we're having such an issue with fake news and these little subgroups believing this and someone else believing this, and now no one has any trust in institutions anymore, and that sort of thing. So she had on a few different guests who talked about it from the media perspective, obviously, how we went from, just a few outlets that would have time to research stories and put things together, as opposed to everything's reported in real time now. So you're going to make a mistake here. There'll be different images associated with it. All of this can easily be picked apart and makes people then start to mistrust news. But also, they talked about it from a psychological point of view, where we're not innately born, apparently, and we haven't evolved to need absolute truth. What we need is comfort, and we need a truth for our tribe. So, when things were confusing, I'd go off to my friends back in the way old days, and we'd figure out what was our truth, and you'd figure out what was your truth. Right. I guess this idea of a truth has never been an evolution, a part of our evolution. We've never needed to know the ultimate truth. We just need to know the truth that works for us. So It was a really interesting discussion. It does help put things in context. It does help you not just say those people are stupid, because it really does explain how we've gotten to this point. And so I found it really interesting. You can go listen to it on the CBC's podcast page. If you just look up The Spark, it's the last episode that's up there.
Cool. So the next thing we were sort of thirsty for was, Harry Styles. So the December cover of the Vogue has Harry Styles on it, and he's wearing a dress and a blazer. And of course, the internet went wild with all kinds of comments. It never ceases to amaze me that people still think they can comment on choices of any type, but there you go. That's free speech for you. So a bunch of people have come out and supported Harry Styles, and a bunch of people have been bitch slapping the whole thing. So that's out there. What are your thoughts, Will?
Well, first of all, it's definitely, I saw the photos. It's 100% that is fun with fashion, right? Like, it's very much like he's in his dress and a skirt, but he wears a blazer and a skirt and earrings. And if you saw him at the Met Ball, he was in that lovely see-through, black see-through shirt with pearl earrings. He's always been playing with kind of what you think is the right way a man should dress versus a woman should dress. And that's very fashionable right now. The younger generation very much has embraced this. So my guess is this one woman we were talking about, who I don't know who she is some kind of
some MAGA voice.
Some awful, she thinks she's doing right by the kids of America, bitch mom. That's my opinion.
That's great. You heard it here first, folks. Stop making comments on other people in general.
Leave Harry alone.
Leave Harry alone. That was our roundup. We have another little sneak peek. We'll post a link to it below. It's the Rockefeller Center's new tree, Will. Ooh. And apparently it's an homage to 2020. And the tree is lopsided and looks like it gave itself a haircut.
Okay.
More on that later. But thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.